Well, welcome to Extra Point on Southwestern Montana News, brought to you by 82 Coffee Company, Susan McRae Accounting, and Town and Country Foods. And today in the studio, Montana Western head men's basketball coach Pat Jensen. Pat, you're in your first year as head coach, but sixth year in the program.
Yeah.
Welcome to Extra Point.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Excited.
Well, before we talk a little basketball, you guys do a scouting report all the time on the teams you're playing. So you're relatively new in the Dillon area. Let's give you people a chance to get to know you a little bit. Are you from Montana?
From Missoula, Montana. I was born there, raised there, and went to high school there as well.
Okay, and what high school?
Loyola. Yep. So,
Okay, and then I know we don't like to talk about it in Bulldog circles, but what was your choice for college?
I ventured up north. After Loyola, I went to MSU Northern and played there for 5 years.
Okay, okay. Which, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and talk a little trivia. You talked about you played at Northern. We were talking about before we went on, 5 of the 6 coaches on the men's side of the Frontier Conference all played in the Frontier Conference, including your former coach. So that's kind of an impressive thing.
Yeah, there's a ton of familiarity, and it's kind of, I think, part of what makes this conference so good is everybody knows what it takes and how good you have to be, and what that level is, and it makes for everybody kind of knows everybody, so to speak.
Well, and the interesting thing is a lot of kids that will transfer from, say, NCAA Division 1 or 2, thinking they're going to move to the Frontier and it's going to be really easy, they're going to be stars, but they get kind of a rude awakening.
At times, yeah, for sure. No, it's, as you guys have all seen, it's a very difficult conference, night in, night out, and the talent level, every year is right there. And, look at Rocky Mountains beat MSU Billings twice, Division II in the state. Providence took them to overtime. We played them to like a really close game, led at halftime. So we're right there with some of those NCAA Division II level teams as well.
Well, MSUB, one time was in the Frontier Conference by another name,
Yeah,
Eastern Montana College. So it'd be nice, we don't want to talk too many politics, but it'd be nice for them to return to the folds of the Frontier.
And then you got Rocky that beats Montana State this year too. So, I think that kind of shows the level, of play, and Tech has beat Montana in the past 5 years, I believe, too. So night in, night out, you better bring it every night.
Yes, yes. Well, we've talked a little bit about the basics of Pat Jensen. We're entering a new year, but you took advantage of the holiday season for another big moment.
Yes, Lexi and I got engaged over the holiday right before Christmas, so we're really excited about kind of our future and whatnot, and I'm one very lucky guy. I'm very glad she said yes.
Well, she entered into a whole nother world too, the world of a college basketball coach's wife. So if she said yes, she must understand it a little bit.
Yeah, no, she's so supportive and comes to almost every game that she can, and is always there and gets it and understands it, and it's been huge, and I'm, like I said, very lucky.
Yeah, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, let's get back to your basketball resume a little bit. So you played 5 years at MSU Northern, you graduated, and then what was your next stop?
So after Northern, I was lucky enough to get hired at Idaho State for Coach Bill Evans, who I met when he was an assistant at Montana, as a graduate assistant there. And I spent 3 years there. Got to get my master's and then get a kind of introduction into the coaching world. There was 4 other guys on staff with me, so it was it was a huge learning opportunity for me to be around, be on the other side of the game and learn, all the ins and outs of what goes into coaching, and just kind of building that that coaching voice and figuring out what it's all about and what it takes to win at a high level.
Well, before we get back to your moving on your resume, so coaching, has that always been in the back of your mind as a career move? Or when was the first time that you said, hey, I think I want to be a basketball coach?
It was not something that when I went to Northern that I thought I was going to do. It's kind of something I just kind of fell in love with. I think it started with camps when I was in college, I started working some camps. Northern's camp. I went to Gonzaga, worked one of their camps. Even went to Indiana, worked one of their camps. MSU Billings, and just kind of started to realize that hey, there might be a career path here, and I love basketball, and might be a way to stick with it a little bit longer, and kind of just exploring those different options, and then was lucky enough to get that graduate assistant job.
What is your degree in?
From Idaho State.
No, from MSU Northern, a bachelor's degree.
I have a business undergrad and then an undergrad in health promotions also.
Okay.
Yeah, so kind of a little bit two different areas.
Okay, we talked about masters too. You're one of those guys. You decided one master's wasn't good enough, so you got another one for the heck of it?
If they were going to pay for it, yeah, it worked out well. Keep my position, and I was able to keep coaching and keep going to school, so it kind of worked out for everybody.
So what are your masters in?
Business and then athletic administration.
Okay, okay. So, and after ISU, was that when you made the trip to the southwest corner of Montana?
Correct, yep. I spent 3 years at Idaho State. The last year I moved out of the graduate assistant role and was like director of player development and got a little bit more, on the court coaching, but still wasn't allowed with NCAA rules to go recruiting. I couldn't do anything with recruiting except for on-campus visits. And then this position at Western, the assistant position, came open, and it was a chance to be the lead assistant, and it was more responsibilities and something I kind of wanted to try and take that next step and take that lead assistant role on and be involved with recruiting, be more involved with scouting reports and more on the court coaching duties too. So.
Talking about what's your philosophy? I mean, do you have someone like a lot of people, even though he's been out of coaching for many, many years, look at John Wooden as, one of the premier examples of what a successful basketball coach is. Mm-hmm. Do you have such a mentor that maybe you look at and want to learn as much as you can from them, whether they're active now or whether they're retired?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to be a sponge and, learn new information. I've been, very fortunate to work with a lot of good coaches, and just try and take bits and pieces from each one of them. And then, I've worked at a bunch of camps in the summer and worked with different college coaches through that and, pick up little drills and little things that I like and try and stay as connected as possible with different coaches around the country and, find out what they're doing and just try and take it all in and, put my own little twist on it as far as what I like and kind of fits our team the best.
Okay. Well, we'll have more Extra Point with Pat right after this from one of our friends on Southwest Montana News.
Looking for made in Montana food products? Look no further than Town & Country Foods of Dillon.
Okay, back to Extra Point now in the studio. Pat Jensen, head men's coach at Montana Western. And Pat, thanks again for coming in. You're a tall guy anyway, but I think since you popped the question and she said yes, seems like you're walking a little higher.
A little taller, floating on air right now, maybe.
Yeah, say a little cloud chatter. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, and the Bulldogs 7-6 in the preseason, and that's pretty good. As you enter conference play against Northern, which Northern's another one of those tough teams in the Frontier. But you had a good preseason. You've had very, very tough competition. And I'm guessing, and I'm not sure how much you had to do with this particular schedule, because I know schedules are done a lot in advance. But I'm guessing that your philosophy is you're going to schedule as many tough games as you can because you don't honestly care as much what your record is in preseason as what it will be in conference season.
Yeah, that was one of the things we really wanted to test, with a brand new group, find out kind of what we're made of and what, see some of those top teams, see who they are and challenge ourselves against them. And, I thought we did a really good job competing with every one of those teams, being right there, and just got to put them in a little bit better position to get over that hump and win some of those close games. We finished some close games, got some wins, and had some leads in the second half against some teams, and just came out on the wrong end of them. But I think, like you said, that's going to prepare us for Frontier Conference in these next 15 games and whatever the conference tournament entails.
Well, you beat Arizona Christian when they were 10th ranked in the nation. You kind of started a trend for them. They started not doing so well, and it's like, oh wow. I think they overlooked you. And then you square up against another former Bulldog, Kobe Blaine at College of Idaho, #1 team in the nation, and you gave them everything they could handle. Those kind of learning experience, confidence building games are great.
Yeah, and that's one thing with this team is, with as many new guys we've had, having 9 new guys, and 6 returners, that's been one thing that they've done a really good job of, is learning from each weekend. We've seen, early on we were able to kind of run our stuff and nobody knew much about us really because that many new guys. And, as teams start to pick up on tendencies and whatnot, we've done a really good job of adjusting to those and finding ways to still be successful. And I think that's something that's going to, benefit us here in the Frontier Conference, because we're going to see some of the same looks, that we saw from some of these really good teams that we've played.
Well, and credit to you and your staff too. You talked about 9 new faces coming in with 6 old faces, but yet the team chemistry, it almost from that very first opening tip, it's there. So that's got to make you guys feel good too. The fact that the new guys and the old guys blend together into a basketball team.
Yeah, no, that was one of the things, we really challenged our new guys, or our returners, sorry, to get connected with those new guys, because we're bringing in 9 new guys. Not very often that your new guys outweigh your returners, at the 4-year level especially. So something we really talked to our returners about is getting connected early on. I think they did a really good job, making those connections, and our new guys did a really good job of buying in. And, I don't really look at them as new guys anymore. I look at them more as, kind of the returners, and we're all familiar with each other, and they've done a great job, building this program and what we're about. And I think that's, a huge testament to them and, just kind of people that they are and what they bring to the table day in, day out.
Well, and your staff too. We'll talk quickly about your staff. Dawson Henshaw comes from a very successful junior college program, and then good old Gary Haverfield, former Bulldog. I mean, he played basketball and was a track star here. So that's a pretty good staff to have.
Yeah, no, I've been very fortunate. They've been incredible in helping our program and just helping me with all the little things. And Coach Henshaw does a great job with all the scouting reports and on the court, connecting with the guys and all the workouts, behind the scenes. And, Coach Haverfield does a lot with the scouting too. And then just is that, that voice of reason, has a lot of experience, and does a good job of connecting with the guys as well. And they'll enjoy having him around. And I think it's just nice to have that, a little bit mixture with some youth and some experience as well. And I think it's helped us a lot, in this non-conference. So I'm very fortunate to have both of them on staff, and they just keep doing a really good job. So.
Okay, well, as we mentioned, MSU Northern on Saturday, 4:00 tip-off. MSU Northern, your alma mater. This will be the sixth year that you've had a game. One of we won't do all the math of all the games you played Northern, but so it's got to be an interesting emotional experience for you, for you played for Sean Hughes for 5 years, and now you're coaching against your old coach. Interesting emotions, or do you, is that something you just, turn off and concentrate on coaching, or is that an answer you can answer?
I mean, coach talk, I'd say it's just like any other game, but it's obviously when he walks out before the game and you start talking to him, and leading up to it, it's there's that familiarity with each other, and when we're in practice and watching film, it's the same as always. Another Frontier Conference opponent. We're going to prepare the exact same way and not change anything. But yeah, it is very interesting. It's something that I learned so much from him, not only about basketball, but as far as life and just everything. Very thankful and appreciative of my 5 years up there, and I really enjoyed it there and learned so much and made some lifelong friendships, and grew up a ton as a person and grew a ton with my basketball knowledge as well. So I feel very fortunate and lucky to have played for him and learned under him for 5 years. And yeah, it's gonna be a little interesting, I guess. It's not gonna be like just any other game for sure.
Well, and you just, in your answer there, you brought up something that I think a lot of basketball fans don't really consider as much as the fact that you're more than just a coach. You're a leader in life for those kids as they come in. Because you mentioned that the impact that Sean Hughes made on you as a person. You didn't say basketball. You said made on you as a person. So that's one of those categories of being a basketball coach people don't talk about, and maybe we should talk a little bit more about it, is the impact you make on those kids.
Yeah, it's something that I've always believed in, just because I've seen it in real life, in my playing experience and at Idaho State and whatnot, and just how important those relationships are. And before they're going to buy into the X's and O's, they have to know that you care about them as a person and are there for them and there to help them. And we got guys from all across the country, some from Montana. We got guys, a kid from London, England, and Seattle, and Los Angeles, and Sacramento. So they're a long ways from home, and they need to know that, we as a staff care about them as a person. And I know this community cares a lot about them, with our host families and people taking them in and being there for them and doing a lot of things to help them out. So it's something that, if they're not comfortable here, it's not going to work on the court. It's something they have to know that, they're in a good spot as far as, basketball-wise. They're in a good spot as far as their academics, and then a good spot, off the court as well. And I think that's something that, it's not just me. It's, our staff. It's the faculty at Western. It's all the staff at Western as well that helps out with all the stuff behind the scenes, and then, community as a whole as well. So it takes a lot of people to,
Takes a village.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not just me. It's everybody.
Okay, well, let's get back to Frontier Conference. Last few years, the Frontier Conference has been very, very tough. You played in it, now you coach in it. This year doesn't look much different than what it has been in the past. I mean, yeah, Montana Tech was the preseason favorite, but we're a long way. You said 15 games. We're 15 games away from deciding who's that regular season champion. Another tough year.
Yeah, I have some familiarity with some of the teams. You got 3 new coaches this year, so that kind of changes a little bit. With Carroll changing over and Providence changing over, a bit Rocky, Tech. They both have a bunch of returners, guys that have been in the Frontier Conference for a long time and had a lot of success. So they've hit the ground running early, and now we're hopefully getting to that level where we can compete with them night in, night out. And I believe that, like we talked about, our Frontier or our non-conference schedules set us up to go toe to toe with these guys and put ourselves in a position to be successful. But yeah, I think it's going to be night in, night out. There's not going to be any cupcakes or any easy wins. And I know traveling, going to Carroll, going to Providence, going to Rocky, going to Tech, going to Northern, all those places are very difficult places to go in and win. And it takes, those margins are so small, especially on the road. So it's going to take all 14 of us, all 14 of our players to be, connected and on the same page to go in and get some of those wins on the road.
Well, and after this Saturday game against Northern, you're on the road for 3 straight games
Yep.
before you come back again. So you're going to test the frontier waters on the road too. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing, and it's happened a lot, that we're not going to know where the rankings are as far as first, second, third, and fourth in the Frontier Conference regular season until that very last weekend.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to the last 1 or 2 weekends, and maybe in that final game on Saturday or whatnot. So it should be a really fun conference schedule. It's going to go by quick, I know that, but it's going to keep getting better, and I'm excited for it. It should be a lot of fun. Especially it'll be fun to play at home here this Saturday. It will be our first. We've had 11 straight games on the road or away from Dillon, so this will be our first home game in a long time. So we're really excited to get back in front of the fans and sleep in our own bed and play a game at home. But
4 o'clock tip-off.
Yep, and then we'll be right back on the road for 3, like we're used to. So it'll be a little bit shorter road trip than some of the ones we've made, though,
Yes.
which will be nice for sure.
Yeah, no airline trips this time.
No airline trips and no 8+ hour bus rides. So
Yeah, those are always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Pat, I want to thank you for coming into Extra Point, and we'll bring you back again. Get you a few conference games under your belt, and maybe next time you can bring in one of your players, and,
That'd be awesome.
and we'll put them on the hot seat.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you having me here today, and yeah, hopefully we'll see everybody Saturday at 2 and 4, 2 for the women's game, and then 4 for ours. So should be a fun day of basketball here in Dillon.
Okay, thank you, Pat.
Awesome.
Welcome to Extra Point, and thanks for watching again. We're a program brought to you by 82 Coffee Company, Susan McCrae Accounting, and Town & Country Foods. We'll see you next time on Extra Point.